So James Cameron is working on a new Terminator story. Why? The franchise was utterly ruined with recent installments. I did grow to quite like Terminator Salvation, I will say that, and I never thought that Terminator 3 was a bad movie, but Genesis and especially Dark Fate were just appalling. And I don't need to go over why. I mean, I've reviewed those movies extensively. To me, the director's cut of Terminator 2 Judgment Day with the happy ending, that's the definitive ending to the Terminator saga, in my opinion. But anyway, I wanted to look at this Collider article. James Cameron confirms he's writing a new Terminator movie, but he's facing a major issue. James Cameron is finally pulling back the curtain on what's going on with his mysterious Terminator project. Cameron kicked off the Terminator franchise in 1984 with The Terminator, the genre-defining sci-fi film that is still hailed as one of the all-time greats to this day. Cameron confirmed last year that he's working on a new Terminator project, but fans have held their breath on it considering his pre-existing commitment to work on the Avatar movies. Although Cameron isn't leaving Pandora anytime soon, he is still actively working on the script for a new Terminator project, which he confirmed in a recent interview with CNN. During the same interview, Cameron also confirmed that he's having some writer's block right now when it comes to working on a new Terminator script. This isn't due to his lack of inspiration, though. Cameron said he's having a hard time writing science fiction right now, which goes for all projects, not just Terminator. He continued, "I'm tasked with writing a new Terminator story. I've been unable to get started on that very far because I don't know what to say that won't be overtaken by real events. We are living in a science fiction age right now." I can understand that. The technology is moving very, very fast. It's kind of hard to impress people these days. It's interesting because we have AI now. I mean, not truly self-aware AI, obviously, but it's part and parcel of life on the internet at this point. There's lots of different AI systems that people are making use of on a daily basis. And AI has made huge advances in the last 3 years. It's not very long. And in science fiction and in the Terminator franchise, the story of Skynet was always the AI gets activated, it goes rogue, and it starts trying to kill humanity and take over the world. And that story, it's been done quite often, not just in the Terminator franchise. But also, yeah, there are people in the real world who have genuine trepidation about AI as it stands. But given how people are making use of AI for very mundane tasks, for work shortcuts, entertainment, research, AI feels quite domesticated into human life. It's kind of taking the sting out of it, you know? Like the idea of ChatGPT or Grok trying to take over the world one day is about as likely as Microsoft Office trying to take over the world. You know what I mean? Before AI was a ubiquitous tool, sure, I mean, the notion of an artificial intelligence was very alien, strange. It conjured up science fiction fears of humanity being made obsolete or enslaved by something more intelligent than us. And look, absolutely, a future AI coupled with robotic automation will likely make an enormous amount of people surplus to requirements in the labour market, which by itself is a very scary prospect. But as it stands, the concepts of AI rising up and taking over doesn't seem very likely. That doesn't seem like a potentially very scary prospect in the future like it did in, say, the 80s or 90s. In fact, there's that joke, you should always thank AI after you use it so that it remembers the respect you showed it and it might spare you when it takes over the world one day. But anyway, the reality is AI in today's world, in everyday use, has been demystified in the eyes of most people and made kind of mundane in a way. It lacks the mysteriousness it had when it was merely a science fiction concept years ago. Now, I'm not saying AI couldn't be used as a tool for very nefarious purposes, even enforcing authoritarianism. But I think it's more likely that that would happen if there was a tyrannical human regime behind the scenes making use of the AI to enforce control upon humanity. This is possibly the reason why James Cameron is having difficulty devising a compelling Terminator plot about AI that doesn't come across as sort of outdated or, well, redundant. And I can understand this challenge myself. In my novel, Deus v Machina, a Cody Stockton mystery, there is a threat from an authoritarian AI, which was previously defeated in a war and is due to be reactivated by world governments. But that's merely one plot element of the story, which intertwines with the main plot later on. The story is truly about spirituality, faith, doubt, forgiveness, and it pits the protagonist against a cult that wishes to use the AI for their own ends. Several twists in the story subvert the reader's expectations, and in the end, hopefully, I've succeeded in providing a very different take on the evil AI trope that provides a surprising conclusion. But enough about my shameless plugging of my novel. So yes, of course, there's plenty of interesting stories to be mined out of artificial intelligence. It can be done, but I feel you have to apply a unique take on it. For example, for a Terminator movie, there could be a conspiracy story about how these free AI tools we've been given have actually been provided to us by, say, a powerful secretive intelligence agency with plans to use all of the data we feed it to build a super intelligent entity to control us, or to build synthetic humanoid minds to replace humanity. Not exactly an original story, but I think in general the idea of a hidden human hand behind the AI does make for a more layered and interesting story than a straight up the machine goes mental and tries to destroy humanity kind of story, which has been done quite a bit. And it doesn't always work. Non-anthropomorphic villains are difficult to get right, as we saw with the AI entity in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning and Final Reckoning, where the threat lacks an emotional impact. And that's the reason why they needed to bring in a human antagonist as well, in the form of Gabriel, someone for Ethan Hunt to be able to physically play off against. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this video up here, and I'll conclude by saying I do not believe that we need another Terminator movie. For me, the story about Skynet has been told. And like I say, it's those first two Terminator movies. The director's cut of Terminator 2 Judgment Day is the definitive ending, in my opinion. I think the brand of that franchise has sadly been undermined by very subpar sequels following Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So guys, I'm going to throw it over to you. What do you think about this? Would you be interested in seeing a new Terminator movie? Or do you think that the story has been played out? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell to be notified of future updates. Of course, hit that like button. Share this video out there. And you can follow me over on X at Dave Cullen Show. Take care, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye-bye.